Hi everybody, a very warm welcome, and thanks for joining us. And today we have with us a very special speaker. His name is Chee. He's very experienced in the field of presentation, and we want to know about effective presentation for managers and how presentations are very important to us. And we are very grateful for Civil Service Club to invite us to jointly add value to all of you that attend, and thank you for attending as well. We have a very good attendance. Today we have 26 people, right? So before we start, I think it would be nice to perhaps on your cameras if it's convenient for you. We want to see you, we want to welcome you personally, right? We imagine that this is a physical classroom, right? We see Christine. Hi Christine. Hi Chin Lo. Hi Bibi. Hi Vivian. Hi Wendy. Hok Tan. Mimi. Fong Lim. We saw Dennis Chan. We saw Chuan Go, and a couple of people as well. Maybe it's not that convenient to on the camera, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have this talk by Chee, and before we start, I'll just inform all of you that this talk is live stream and it's recorded, so that in case you want to replay or you miss out certain things, you can actually re-look at the slides, right? So how do you get this replay? I will just type in here, right? So you can get this replay in this URL here. I will type the replay URL again. Yeah, so you can watch the replay at seoking.tv. Yeah, seoking.tv. This is a joint collaborative between Civil Service Club and me and my bunch of speaker friends. Right, so perhaps we will hand the time now over to Chee. Maybe Chee, take it away. Self-intro and all that. It's all yours. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Chee.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. Good morning, everyone. It is a Saturday, so I'm not going to make it very serious today. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to take it lightly to do my presentation in front of all of you, although it is over Zoom. Now, first of all, I'll do a self-intro. Well, I've been working with the media industry for almost 10 to 15 years before I moved into the so-called business world. Along the way, I was trained by BBC trainers when I was with the TV station on how to be a presenter in front of a camera. A lot of things about your body language, your gesture, your voice, your intonation, and so on and so forth. And then when I changed my career track and I moved into the business world. I've done a lot of business presentations, either to my distributors, to my bosses, or to my clients. So this morning, what I'm going to share with you are some of the things that I noticed and I would like to share with all of you so that you can also pick up some of the tricks in presentations, especially for managers. Now, for managers, not only for managers, in fact, a lot of us always feel that I have a lot of things to share with other people. However, I have only limited time, especially when you are facing your bosses or your important customers, right? For example, if you are going to share some system, you want to sell it to your customers, and each steps you may want to explain more about each step, and you have altogether 10 steps, for example. and you feel that I don't have time because my customers only give me 1 hour. Okay, minus off the ice breaking in the first 5 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes to wrap up and Q&A. In fact, I have only less than 1 hour to do it. And I don't think I can do it. I can't share the most important or all the informations with my customers. Sometimes to your bosses, it's the same. Your boss say, I only give you 30 minutes. Tell me what you're going to tell me. And when you start doing it and you realize that, oh, I think I'm going to have to overtime to do more than that. 30 minutes not enough. And I can share one story with you. It is a real story. I have a friend who worked with one of the government departments, like maybe some of you, civil servant. He was a civil servant, and he shared this story with me. He said he was presenting to head of departments, okay, and he was given 1 hour. So he started to do his presentation as usual, and only until the third slide, the head of department said, can you go to the last slide and tell me your conclusion? And 1 hour, supposed to be 1 hour presentation, cut short to about 20 minutes. So what actually happened? So I asked my friend, what actually happened then? He said, probably I'm sharing too much information, and those information the boss already know. So you are giving a lot of background information. You think that is important to present your case. So you need to present all those information so that your target audience can understand the whole picture. In fact, he knows. So you are wasting your time, and not only that, you are wasting his time. So in order not to do that, I come up with some tricks, and I'm going to share with you now. So let me share screen. Eugene, I think you need to you disable participant screen sharing. I can't share screen. Okay, now good. Right. Let me come towards my screen. Okay, right. So this is what you see now. And I'm going to, right. So today I'm going to share with you effective presentation skills for managers, the secrets of sharing more information with impact within limited time. Now, the key word is with impact. So it is not just sharing information. The information you share needs to have some impact so that your target audience, after listening to what you have presented, and say, wow, I think this is what I want. And wow, I think I'm thinking the same direction, and this guy knows me very well. And that is exactly what you want, okay? Now, what I'm going to share with you today, first, introduction, first things first. Okay, what are the things that you need to consider first before you do the presentation? How to make your PowerPoint talk. PowerPoints basically can talk for you if you use them effectively. Overcome the habits that betray you. In this part, I'm going to talk about the body language and what it includes. Not only the movement of your body, but some other things. Nervousness does not kill. A lot of people feel very nervous, including myself. Even in front of you, I'm not doing a face-to-face presentation, but over Zoom, you think I'm not nervous? I am. I don't know you. You don't know me. I'm not sure what questions you're going to ask me. So don't think an experienced speaker is never nervous in front of the crowd. They do. I can tell you they do. But how do we overcome that? Then conclusion, we reap the fruits. So they're altogether 5 parts. Now, first things first. What is the first thing that we need to know before we do the presentation? I remember when I was with the TV station, my trainer told me one thing. He said, preparation is the most important stage. Once that is done, and you do it well, the rest are just execution. And then along the way, you do fine tuning, and that's all. And it applies to almost everything, including presentation. So you need to be prepared. So the first thing you need to know is you know your contents, and that is important. Some people say, of course I know my contents, I'm going to present it, right? Of course I know. What are you saying? Now, when I say you know your content, you must know thoroughly. I mean, I always joke like this. You must know inside out, outside in, everything about your content. And you must know what are the main points, key points, and so on. Now, that is the reason why, there is a reason why we need to do that. Because once you know your content well, in fact, you are already prepared yourself for questions later usually at the end of the presentation, or along the way, someone will raise their hand and ask you a question. So when you know your content, you are prepared for that. You can even prepare some answers for some questions that you anticipate to come up with. I give you an example. Now, recently, the new not really new, but the foreign ministers of China, Qin just had a press conference. And after the press conference, a lot of media reported this. He is well prepared, right? He even prepared a constitution, the Chinese constitution, and read it to the reporters or the correspondents on site about Taiwan. I'm not going to talk about politics, but I'm saying that, you see, he is prepared. You anticipate. He knows what he's going to say. He knows what kind of questions he will receive from his audience. So he prepared everything. So when you are prepared, you will not have a situation whereby you don't know what to do, how to answer, and then you start to that is really a no. Okay. Next, you must know your audience, right? Now, the example I just shared with you when I first started about the head of department of a government, government department. Obviously, my friend did not really know what that gentleman knows about that topics. So he was presenting a lot of background information, which the head of departments already know. So you must know your audience. And not only that, okay, you must know what is their wants and needs, and what is their concern. Okay, what is the main thing in their mind they want to what are the main issues they want to solve in their mind. You must understand that part, and this is the research that you must do. Right. So when you know this, especially in the business world, if you know your customers, for example, you're doing it to your customers, when you know your customers' needs and wants, their concerns, your presentation here and there, sometimes in slide 2, sometimes in slide 5, sometimes in slide 50, you will come back to the main point to address to their concerns. Okay. So that is very important, knowing your audience. So you know your contents, you know your audience. The next thing you need to know is know your tools. What are your tools? PowerPoint, projectors, slides. Yes. What else? What else? It can be a whiteboard with markers. It can be a laser pointer. It can be some other props. I call it props. It may be your products. You want to demonstrate your products to your whoever, your customers or your boss. All those, you must know them. The least you want is when you're doing the demonstration, halfway you say, hey, what is this? What happened to this screw? I'm sorry, let me check. Okay, this is the thing that you really, really don't want it to happen. So you must know your tools, not only the PowerPoint, the projector, and other and like for example the the laser pointer. But your product, you must know very well about your product. Okay, so once you have these three in mind and you do your research well, you get everything done, then we move to the next step. How to make your PowerPoint talk. Now, many people say this, PowerPoint, there are a lot of templates. You go to Google, you go to some of the Chinese websites, especially the Chinese like to do a very, I call it very fanciful design of their PowerPoint and so on and so forth. So I always ask this question. So what does, why Microsoft name this software as PowerPoint? Don't know. My answer is very simple. Because you must present powerful points. And it should be some powerful points that can strike people once your audience see it, right? They say, wow, okay, this is the thing that I want to know. Then you put it there. So PowerPoints are basically point form with some animation, with some graphics and so on. So how do we make PowerPoint talk? The design. The design is very important, okay? If you don't do it well, you may confuse your target audience. For example, this kind of design. Okay, I don't know what is homogeneous is. I don't know. And now, why I say this is really not a very ideal kind of design, because there are too many words. Now ask yourself, when someone presents this on the screen, what is your first reaction? Many a times, people will start to read the slide instead of listening to you. And that is exactly what you don't want it to be, because you want people to listen to you rather than reading the text on the screen. If you want them to read the text, send them an e-file, right? E-copy, let them read. You don't have to have a presentation. The presentation is to tell them the main point, the powerful points on your slides, and then answer to the questions they may have. That is the purpose of a presentation, not to let them sit down there and start to read. Okay. Next. This one, you see, wow, I have all the logic, the so-called flow chart now from here, again, here and here. But you look at it, is it too complicated for your audience, for anyone, in fact, to understand this graphic? And also with all those tiny words like this. Are you sure your audience can read those words or not? So it is good to have graphic, or sometimes we call it infographics, right? A lot of people say a picture words 1,000 words. Yes, but not this way, not this type of design. I will show you later how we do it to make it more powerful. Next, like this. This one, they say, wow, this is good, right? You see, you have the map, you have the bar chart, and with the description, and I even have the source here, so there's no PDPA issues and so on and so forth. But you look at the color tone. Do you like this color? Most people don't like it. The dark color background makes it very serious. Okay, your heart sinks together with the background color. And also, when you have two things on one slide, if I'm sitting down there, I will just look at it. Which one should I look at first? And they will start to read and try to understand instead of listening to you. So they will say, we see this by highlighting different regions. I look at, okay, this region, okay, what is it? 11, 15%, 16 to 18%. Okay, this region, they are not listening to you. So it defeats the purpose of having a presentation. As I say, you can just send to them, ask them to read, right? You don't need to have a presentation. So the color tones, the design is important. Now, next, Some people say, then I use animation. There are so many graphics I need to share. So I use animation. How about that? I would say, good idea. But what kind of animation you want to use? Let me show you some. First, okay, this is the first animation from PowerPoint. Second, this is I call Galang Wei. And the third, very simple, just appear. This is the animation in PowerPoint called appear. Okay, can I have a show of hand? How many of you like the first one, or you just choose in your chat, in the chat, which one do you prefer? 1, 2, or 3? Just key in 3. Okay, I see 3. Most people say 3. Good. Good. Most people say 3. Yes. The more simpler of your animation, the better. Why? Because just like the design, I don't want the screen, the design, and my slide distract my audience. So my animation should do the same, should not distract the audience. Who is the main character on that show? Me, the presenter. Okay, let me share something with you. I'm not sure how many of you still remember Martin Yan. If Yan can cook, so can you, right? He's the guy. He came to my show when I was still working with TV, with the TV station. And after the show, we had a tea break at the canteen. And he shared with me, he said, I mean, we are both Cantonese, so we spoke in Cantonese. So I just do some little translation. He told me, he said, well, Mr. Lee, in fact, you know, you notice that I do a lot of chopping during my show. No, this is his so-called typical action or his so-called signature things, right? He will do things like this. Then he smile like this, right? And this is his way. So he told me, very frankly, he said, in fact, there's nothing. To us Chinese, what is this? Talk, 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 talk. Nothing much. But when I do this, the Westerners, the Americans in the studio, they all clap. They like it very much. So every time I will do this. He has got showmanship. And this is what I want to share with you. When you're doing your presentation, you need to have that kind of showmanship. He knows his audience very well. He knows the Americans in the studio like that. So he does it every time on his show. And it works. See, he knows his audience. So likewise, when you do your presentation, you must know your audience. Next. Now, I mentioned about graphics, right? Yes. If I show everything on it with all the words here, very likely people will start to read. Yeah, will start to read. What is this? What is this? What is this? But I already mentioned this. I don't want to distract people from my presentation. So I'd rather do things like this. I'll show only the first box and then I start to elaborate. Then I move on to the second box. Then I move on to the third, the fourth, and the last one. So one by one, I only show what I'm on. Just like my point. I will not show everything at one time. Because when I show everything on at one time, people will start to read. Even though they are only point form, maybe less than 8 words a point, people will start to read. I want them to look at me, pay attention to my presentation rather than reading from the slide. So how about this? Look at this animation. So some people ask me, Mr. Lee, so if I need to show some animation, to show some changes, not what I just shared with you, steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, not like that. That I need to do some animation. Okay, so this is what I did. Okay, this is from my own presentation. I did this when I did a presentation, I conducted a class in China. I showed them this. Okay, for those who understand Chinese, what I want to show them is 有图未必有真相. What does that mean? Even if you have a pictures, it doesn't mean it shows the fact. Because when we change, we look at it from other angles, other perspective, things will be different. And I show the changes. Now, this is something that you need to do, because if you don't show it, you don't do the animation on one slide, people may not understand. But if you want to share this, it will become like this. You know how many slides I need to do one by one like this? Okay. In, animation in, and then exit, enter, exit, until you see what I show you the previous slide. So is it necessary? It is, sometimes it is necessary. But remember one thing, when you want to share it, especially you want to share this slide, a PowerPoint in PDF format or in the PowerPoint format, you want to show the end, so-called end product, the ending of it. Then you may have to take out all these and just leave this picture there. And by just looking at these two, people may not understand what you're trying to say, right? And also another thing, if you have too many steps of this kind of animation, it makes the file size bigger, heavier, difficult to share. Okay, difficult to share. So, and difficult to share and difficult to download also, because when the file size is too big, it's sometimes very difficult to download. So you may use animation, okay, to solve the so-called graphics issues, but think first, is it really necessary? Next, flow. Flow is very simple. It must be logical, okay? It must flow like water. Your presentation, I'm saying. So how do you check? One of the ways that I usually recommend I recommend to my learners is that, now you have, for example, 10 slides. Extract all the titles of your slide. Just put it down on a piece of paper and you look at it and see whether it flows naturally or not. If it does, then it is okay. That means you are talking point 1, then you move to slide 2 is point 2, then you go to slide 3, point 3. So this is the way to check whether the flow is okay, whether you are jumping here and there, because people will follow the flow of your thought. So your flow of your thought must be the same as the flow of your presentation. So in order to check that, you just list it down and then you see. Sometimes you look at it, you say, hey, if I talk like that, no good. So maybe I'll change slide 5 to 4 and 4 to 5, something like this. Right? So it will help you to build a very logical flow and people can follow easily. Now, next, we're talking about the habits that betray you. We look at these two mannequins, you know, we're talking about body language. Now, body language, there are different types of body language. Sometimes we call it non-verbal communications. We don't speak anything, we don't say anything, and at the same time, we are showing you something. For example, your postures. Now, on a Zoom, it's quite difficult. Why? Because you can only see above my chest, this level, right? Here. Okay, I'm looking at myself here. Okay, the most, maybe, I adjust my camera, it's up to here. Any part of my body below my chest, you can't see. So you don't see how I stand. You don't see whether I'm shaking my legs. You don't see whether I'm staying like doing meditation, folding my legs like this. You don't see. What you see is only my two hands. So in a Zoom meeting like this, a Zoom presentation like this, the postures is more on your body, like for example, moving forward, leaning backward, okay, maybe sitting like this, sliding aside. So all this will show your audience what is in your mind. For example, if let's say suddenly you realize that some of your learners or some of your audience suddenly they lean forward, they may want to see more clearly about what you presented on the screen, right? And if you see someone lean back like this, suddenly pull themselves away from the camera, maybe they don't feel interested. Okay, but that is for Zoom. Another thing you need to train yourself when you're doing a Zoom presentation is look at the camera. A lot of people can't get to do this because somehow this is natural. Okay, people will look at first the screen, what I'm presenting. Now I'm looking, you see, look at my eyeline, postures, because it's on this side, right? And then I look at this side, I look at the list of participants, I look at your faces, I look at who are they, who you are, and so on, right? And then, hey, someone is talking, then I look here, I see. So you can see my head moving here and here, but I never look, I never look at you. So how can I make myself looking at you? I look at the camera here. Look at my fingers here. When I look at here, I'm talking to you. And you realize that I'm talking to you. For those who need to do interviews on camera, Zoom, sometimes we see people like this on TV news, for example, or current affairs. They do Zoom interview like this. You can tell whether the interviewee is reading from the screen or not. Okay, because the eyeball will not deceive you. Okay, look at my eyeball. If I'm reading, yeah, I purposely lean forward so that you can see the movement of my eyeballs. You can tell very clearly this guy is reading from the screen. Plus, when he is reading, for example. So 3, overcome the habits that betray you. The first thing is postures. You can tell he's reading. Then it is not natural. When we do an interview, when we do a presentation, we want to be as natural as possible. We want to engage with our learners. This will be easier when you are doing a on-site, face-to-face presentation, because eye contact is always there. You can move around in front of your audience and you look at them like this, so that you look after really the group on the left and then the group of the right on the right, and then you look at the group in the center. People know that you are talking to them. Okay, you are talking to them, and your body language, your postures, they can tell. For example, you stand firmly on the 2 feet, and then you use your hands to emphasize certain things. This is important, right? I want you to know. Let's open up. You use your hand. You see, in front of the camera, you can only do it in front like this. You cannot do it like this. You can't see me. So that is some limitation over Zoom or virtual presentation or interview. So postures is important. One postures we all know. When someone fold their arms in front of their body like this, we all know this guy is quite reserved. Somehow he may not agree with me, but he's just listening. But then see, I have to raise my arms higher so that you can see it. Usually I don't do it that high. I have to do it like this. Then you can't see it. See the limitation of virtual presentation. So these are very important. Okay. Some people like to do this. While your learners or your audience is talking, you do something like this. I'm thinking. Is that good or bad? It depends. But sometimes, some people will do things like this. Now, body language tell you when this guy is touching his nose, he's lying. Okay, so be careful about all those things. Go to the internet, search for body language. Next, gesture. We all know who is this guy, right? Okay, this is Obama. You look at him. He likes to do this. He likes to do this. Why? To emphasize. He knows he's on camera. You look at his facial expression and his gesture. This is important. I'm telling you, we have to do this. We have to do that. See, to emphasize. Another gentleman, also former president of the United States. I don't have his picture here, but I'm not sure whether you still remember or not. He likes to do this. I want to make America great again. One finger. All these are gestures, like what I'm doing now with my hands. All these are gestures. This will help you to emphasize what you are presenting. So use it carefully. Again, go to the internet, check. Next, verbal traps. A lot of people, when they do presentation, they have this kind of habit of saying, okay, all right. So then there's even a song by Wu Kang, say, then ho. So we always say then ho, then. Remember, you have to take out all these things. Okay? Be very careful about that. Okay, let's go on. Okay, all right, now what we do? All right. Sometimes you don't feel it, but your audience feel a little bit, how should I put it? I will not say frustrated, but they will feel irritated in some form. When you always say, okay, all right, so, and then. Another verbal trap is your tone. As I say, just then I share with you, a presentation, in fact, you need to have showmanship as a presenter. So your voice, you have to project your voice. In a classroom, you don't need a mic. So you have to train that part. Secondly, your voice cannot be flat like this. Now, if I am to present it this way, the third is to overcome the habits that betray you. First thing we talk about is posture. Posture is important. Now, if you don't take care of this, it may sometimes hurt some people. Then the next thing is gesture. Gesture will help you to emphasize your point. Now, see, if I talk like this, after 5 minutes, no, not more than that, your audience will fall asleep, definitely. So when you use your voice, remember the intonation, you must have up and down, the rhythm. Okay? When you want to emphasize certain point, you look at me, when I say emphasize, I use my gesture like this, emphasize certain point. And when I say it, emphasize, right? You have to really emphasize something rather than you have to emphasize the point so that people can understand you. It's the same, but the way you say it. So this needs some kind of training. Where to pause, where to speed up, and where to emphasize. Next, nervousness. Okay, people say I'm nervous. I share with you, I too is nervous, especially when I'm facing a hall of people. I presented or talked in front of, I think, about 200 people in a hall before pandemic, of course, about 200. It's a lecture hall. So you are like a lecturer, you stand in front of everybody and then you start to do your presentation and so on. And a lot of you say that I don't know where to look. I don't want to look at the ceiling, or I always look at my screen so that I can avoid eye contact with my audience. That is definitely a no-no. Okay. So one way I do it is very simple, other than how to relax. Usually on site, I see nobody. You have to blur your focus. That is something that you need to train. In front of a big crowd, like, for example, you're on stage in a lecture hall. You don't see anyone, although those people are in front of you. So you blur your focus. How to do that? You glance through the audience, sometimes like left side, sometimes right side, sometimes center, but you never focus on individual person. That is the way. That will help you. Okay, that will help you. So that you are not looking at anyone, but to the audience, you are looking at them. Oh, so you need some training on that. So to help you to relax, there are two ways. One is to relax your body. Okay, how to relax your body? I have used this methods many times and it works for me. Okay, I'm not sure. I hope this will help you. Fist clenching exercise. Now here, because I want to show you and in the picture, I want to show you how we do it. So that's why I raise it. Usually I do it next to my body. Okay, you clench your fist tightly and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and open up as wide as possible. Okay, as wide as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just do it repeatedly before you stand on the stage or stand in front of the crowd. You can do this. And sometimes even when you are standing there, before you start your first word, first sentence, you can do that because you place your hands next to your body. So people may not notice that. And people will not know when you are facing a camera like this, like what I'm doing. Okay, I'm doing this, you'll never notice that because you can't see it, right? So this will help you to relax your body. Try it, okay? Next, I call it to relax your mind. I call it 4-7-8 breathing technique. This is very effective. You do it 2 times a week. For those people always feel very nervous, this is very effective. 4-7-8. Okay, 2 times a week, like having medicine. 2 medical prescription. The doctor will prescribe some medicine for you. Okay, 2 times a week. Every time you do, it depends. Sometimes 4 sets, 1 set 8 times. Okay, so it depends on you. If you cannot last that long, maybe 2 sets. Each set will do 4 times. How do we do it? Close your lips, inhaling silently through nose. 4 seconds. You count 1, 2, 3, 4. You breathe in, basically to breathe in. Then hold the breath for 7 seconds. Then it counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you breathe out. Use 8 seconds to breathe out. Then you count 1, 2, 3, 4 until 8. Okay, this is 1. So 1 set you have to do 4 times. 4, 7, 8 times 4. That is 1 set. Now you do it. When is the best time to do it? Anytime. But the best time basically is before you go to bed. Because after you relax, it's a good time for you to go to bed and sleep. It's better than you use your phone and use this to help you to sleep. It will never help you to sleep because after a while you get excited, especially when you play games, right? With your phone like this. Okay. So you do this, help you to relax. And before your presentation, you can do the same thing. Maybe 1 set, it depends on the time you have. If you have more time, maybe you do 2 sets or 4 sets or 3 sets. If not, then 1 set 4 times. Okay, before your presentation, before you stand there. Then someone raised their hand. Mr. Lee, then when I stand up there, I still feel nervous. How? I can tell you, no, you will not. Why? Because if you follow what I have shared with you, first of all, the first thing first, the 3 things, you have done your preparation, you have done your research, and now you come to this stage. You have done your relaxing of your body and your mind. When you stand there, once you start, you get your engine started, I can tell you, you will focus on your topic and your contents. You will never feel nervous from that point on. You will not. Trust me. Okay. But it takes time and you need to practice. Practice makes perfect. So if you really cannot help, then you have to seek help. Where to seek help? But I'm not saying that you need to see a doctor, but in some extreme case, yes. Maybe they have some childhood experience that make them like this. It could be. So if this is the case, really you need to see it. But there's an organization in Singapore that you can go to train up your presentation skill, your speaking skill. Toastmaster Club of Singapore. I think some of you may have heard of it. Okay, it helps you to communicate effectively. They help you to provide. They provide instruction, educational materials, and then they provide opportunities in preparation and delivery of speeches, and that is important because you need to practice, right? So they give you the chance to practice, and they provide opportunities and encouragement to appear before audience. Now, basically, how can they do this? You will join them. They have a regular meeting. I think it's one every 2 weeks or once a week. Okay, you go there. They have prepared. They will assign someone to be the presenters or the speakers with some script with a title. You prepare your own script, and then when it's your time, you go up there and you do you deliver your speech. And the audience will comment, and we all learn by sharing. Now, that is only the part one. How about part two? Part two is on the spot. They come out with the title there. You have 5 minutes to prepare your script. Usually it's about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, then you start to talk. You will be there to deliver the script on the spot. Okay, so this will train you to speak in front of the crowd. Definitely very helpful, and it is really a practice. Okay. In fact, one of my subordinates, when I was still working with the corporate, with the company, she joined the Toastmaster Club, and she told me it was very helpful to her, and she feels more confident in speaking in front of a group of people now, because she has the opportunities to practice. So this is quite good. If any one of you are interested, this is the contact. You can go to their website here, or you can go to their Facebook, and this is the address at Sheraton Hotel. Okay, the last address I know of. Maybe, I'm not sure they have moved or not. I don't think so. I think they are still there. Okay, you can go to their website. Of course, you join them as a member, I think you have to pay a fees. Okay, okay, but that is very helpful. Okay, I hope if you are interested, capture this screen, and you may want to check it out. So now the conclusion. We want to reap the fruits of whatever I've shared with you. First, you know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. And this is not by me, it's by Sun Wu. 知己知彼，百战不殆. Now, what it means that when you prepare the first thing first, remember the content, your audience, and your tools, everything you have well prepared, and you even prepare answers for questions that you anticipate will come up during a presentation or after the presentation. You will not be defeated. Now, what does it mean? 百战不殆. Many people have changed this to 知己知彼，百战百胜. That means 100 battles, 100 victories. But in the original text of Sun Tzu, what he says is 百战不殆. What is 殆? Defeated. Which means you may not win, but you will not be defeated. And that is important. Why? If you are not defeated, you have a second chance to come back. If you are defeated, it's very difficult for you to come back. Okay, this is the wisdom of Sun Tzu. So, next, clean, clear, and simple. Only show the point that you are on at the time that you're talking about it. Okay, I always advocate this: clean, clear, and simple. Okay, don't have so fanciful kind of design. Don't have too many animation. Make it clean and clear. You are the person. You are the main character of the show. Let them focus on you. mind your body language. Okay, be very careful about your non-verbal communications to your audience. Oneness of mind and body. Relax yourself before and during the presentations. Okay, that is what I share with you today. So, any questions? You want to raise your hands or you want to put it in the chat? I'll see what I can help to share with you. Any question? Any question? No question.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions because Chee comes with a lot of experience. He used to be working with a media corp side of things, right? He's in the media and stuff like that. So he's really very experienced in terms of presentation. So this is your opportunity. If you want to ask questions, just unmute yourself and Chee will do his best to answer.
Really no question. Okay. Oh, you
the
mentioned
chat.
about colors on PPT. What are the recommended colors of fonts and background color? Good question. It depends on your audience. If audience is not really a consideration, I would like to use very simple white background. What I'm using now, white. Anything on white will stand out. You look at Q&A, this graphic, it stands out. Okay. Any good sample PowerPoint to share? Basically, I cannot share my PowerPoint with you because they are copyrighted. But you can always go to the internet to search for some. But remember, don't use those very fanciful ones. Really, design very complicated design. Make it CCS. Okay, simple, clear, and clean. Is it okay to carry a deck of cards you refer to? Yes. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the any good. What is the recommended number of points on each slide? Okay, one slide, 3 to 5 points, not more than 5 points. Each point, for English word, 6 to 8 words. Okay, for Chinese word, not more than characters are not more than 10 characters. Okay. Each slide, if you need to elaborate, basically you will spend about 3 minutes on one slide. If it is just an example to show an example, average 1 minute. Okay. Okay. Is it okay to carry a deck of cards to refer to? My answer is no. Why? Now, nowadays, people don't carry a deck of cards. They carry their iPad and their phone. Everything written there, and then they start to do this. Right? Okay. Can you see my phone here? Okay. Like this. You look at the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to all of you. And then start to read. You do not have eye contact consistently with your audience. You must know your content, first thing first. So the point on the screen is not only to share those important points that you want to share with the audience, but also to remind you what you're going to say because you have prepared for it. So don't use a deck of cards and don't use iPad and use a phone and you write your script and then you just read out your script. As I say, you want to read out your script, send it to me. I can read myself. I can read, sorry. Don't insult me by doing that. Okay, let me see. May I know how long to turn and focus on audience? Is it weird to keep turning left, right, and center? I tend to face center. Do it naturally. Usually I'll walk around, even if I'm on the stage, because if let's say there are many people in the hall, you need to let them know that I'm talking to everyone instead of the center people. So when I look around, basically, not more than 3 seconds. When I look at here, and then I go here, 3 seconds here, about 3 seconds, about that. So do it naturally. As I say, practice makes perfect. After a while, you'll get used to it.
Actually, just to add on to Chee, right? I'm also training in a training room. So let's say my training room has like 15 people. I will actually walk around the room. At the same time, I want to make sure that they don't sleep. And the participants after that, when they feedback after the 2.5 days course, they actually feedback that trainer is very engaging and things like that. Although on the side, as a trainer, at the end of 2.5 days or at the end of every day, we feel tired. We really feel tired because we walk around, we really look at them, we really engage. But trust me, your audience will really appreciate and really find that you are very personal when you do such things. Yeah. Next, Chinai, next question.
Okay, sure. Next question. Is it better to send the PowerPoint PDF to the members before the meeting to cut short things? That would be ideal, but I can guarantee you, you ask yourself first, okay, when you receive a PowerPoint presentation, slides, PDF in PDF form, will you really read through it thoroughly in details? Usually we just scroll, okay. After all, that guy is going to present, why should I read through? That is just natural, especially for busy people. For busy people, usually they don't read. So they will only read when you are doing it. So if your presentation is very simple, CCS, okay, clean, clear, and simple, easier for them to read. And then when they look at the point they don't understand, they are expecting you to elaborate or explain to them during the presentation. So this is one way that you can capture the attention of your audience, target audience, before the presentation. Okay. Is it useful to prepare the full speech? Now, when you are new, yes. But then don't memorize them. Because when you memorize them, you'll come up with things like this. Today, I'm going to share with you about presentation skill. The first thing is about, you see, because you try to remember. When you try to remember, everyone on site can tell. Okay, don't do that. For example, today, did I prepare a full speech? No. But I know my point. When you know your content, you know what are the points. When you see the points, you know what you're going to share. That's enough. So that's the reason why I encourage people who have lesser confidence in themselves, go and join Toastmaster Club. It will help you. It will help you because when you do the speech, you don't read. You prepare the point and then you start to do your speech. See? So it will help. What about poster presentation? Does your presentation tip still apply? I would say yes. I would say yes. Because you just replace the slides with your poster, the same. In those days, we use flip charts. We use only points, the same thing, because I want them to pay attention to me. Yeah. Any minimum font size for text in slide? Well, it depends on what kind of font type you are using. But usually, the title not more than 40. If you are using the categories, the title, the heading, not more than 40. Lesser than that. Because it depends on the design, and visually it must be balanced on your slide. Okay, and don't use too many colors. Okay, in your slide, use simple colors. For example, you are using blue, yellow, and background white. Then throughout your slides, it must be consistent. Okay, it must be consistent. Okay. Okay. I think that's about all because of time.
Okay,
We
just
have
to add on,
yeah.
with regards to what China has said, I think a lot of you asked, my presentation background, do I want to have pattern and all that, or versus a white background? As you guys can see, the white background doesn't really distract people. When you have pattern and all that, people might be drawn away from, distracted by the pattern, and they will not consume the content, right? Yes, and Chinai, this
Okay.
is
The
how
last one
can
is
people
some
contact you?
marketing. My marketing and promotion.
Okay, please
So
take a
yeah,
snapshot. Yeah.
that's about all. I will stop sharing now.
Just a minute. Okay.
Okay.
Have you guys taken a snapshot? Please ensure that you've taken a snapshot so that you can, connect with Chinai, and find out. And the recording will be on seoking.tv. And before we end, I would like to actually introduce you to the next talk so that you'll be aware. And what happened is that because all of you has signed in for this Zoom meeting, the next talk will be using the same Zoom ID. So once I change it to the next talk, next date, all of you no need to re-register, right? Okay, so I'm just going to share with you. Okay, and this is an example of a promotion poster, right? The next talk is the joys of video marketing. We will look at some secret strategies, why video marketing, discover the 3 elements of a good video, and 3 videos that you can do that will explode your brand presence on social media. And it will be, the next speaker will be Chai Yan Chong. He runs his own video production house, and he is also an expert in going and covering live events, right? So do take a snapshot of this, right? And as you, if you are watching on my YouTube channel, you can join us on the Telegram at t.me/SEO4B. That is where the Zoom details will be announced, right? So with that, thank you very much for really, coming and attending this talk. I hope that it's been useful for you. And we've got a learning series all the way until July. Yeah? So just do join our Telegram group. Thank you very much and have a great day ahead.